What's going on, guys? If you're looking to start a clothing brand and it's very easy to follow 10-step guide, we're going to show you guys how to do it with under $100. Now, over the years, I've launched a lot of different types of videos, and my most popular one was how to do this with less than $50. But that was back in 2014. We're now in 2023. With inflation, prices go up, but the information also gets better. So if you're a new visitor to this channel, make sure you subscribe as we drop some gems in starting a clothing brand and growing it through marketing, sales, and much more. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably a new brand owner and you're maybe wondering, okay, well, what legalities are involved with starting it? What design things do I need to know? Where do I make my products? What stores should I use? How do I even get online? We're gonna be answering all these questions, and we're also gonna be diving into tips and resources that you guys can immediately access as we watch this video so you can get started. Now, it doesn't matter if you have a $50 or $1 million. There's three things that you need to consider if you're starting a brand. The very first thing is, how authentic is it to you? In order to start a brand, it has to be authentic to you. The second thing you need to be able to do is build a community around it. You see, this is why it's important that it's authentic to you, because in order to create a community, you need to be able to reach out to others and ask them to join. You need to be able to create content that makes them want to join. And the third thing is a connection to the products. Now, if it's authentic to you, you have a community, now you need to be able to create products that connect to that community in order for you to sell. A lot of times people want to launch a brand and they just want to do it and say, hey, how come I'm not getting sales? How do I better market? You're not thinking about it in the right way. So with the following steps we're about to dive into, we're gonna help you guys establish the foundation, but keep these three things in mind. How authentic is the brand to you, the community that you can build around it, and the connection to the products for that community. Now, if you want some bonus features, we also included a free download right down below. We call it the Apparel Playbook. And in that playbook, we give you guys some incredible gems and resources to help you navigate from where you are right now to where you want to go. And of course, everything that we mentioned in the video is going to be linked right under that subscribe button. So just expand that description and you can follow along. Now, to start a clothing brand, it's much more than just slapping a name or a logo on a product and saying, this is your brand. There's a lot more that comes into it, and it really begins with the name that you decide to go with. Now, a lot of times people are wondering, how do I come up with the best name? There's all kinds of different ways that you can do it, but probably the most iconic brands that we know today are either referenced in biblical terms, Greek mythology, or some historic event. It relates to people in a long-term way. It's not something that's trending. A lot of times brand owners will create a name of something that's trending, like Money Boys or Hustle Hard. Those things are trending, they're popular, yes, but they're played out. Nike meant victory in Greek mythology, right? Where do you think fear of God came from? I want to bet it was from the Bible, right? So there's all kinds of different ways that you can create iconic names. But if you're just blanking and you don't like to read the Bible or go to church or do anything about history, then a really easy way to do it is just to start looking at name generators. In those name generators, you could pop in a couple of different names and it spits out a couple of different ideas. But honestly, whether you go through the name generators or whether you decide to do it through the Bible or some Greek mythology or some historic events, however you decide to do it, what's important here is to decide on 10 names that really vibe with you. It has to be something personal and meaningful to you. Don't just create something and then try to make meaning of it later. Narrow it down to those 10 names that you're like, yo, I really vibe with these. One of these is gonna be my name. Because the next thing you gotta do is you gotta check for the availability of whether you can own that name. Just because you came up with an incredible name doesn't mean that you can actually legally use it. So the next thing you gotta do is go to uspto.gov. Now, once you go to uspto.gov, you're gonna wanna go check for trademarks. Now, this is a very simple way to do it, is just by entering your brand name here. Now, you're gonna wanna do these for all 10 names that you come up with, and chances are a couple of them are already gonna be taken. The more creative that you are, chances are nobody's come up with it. Start throwing them into this database and it'll spit out a couple different findings. Now, with these findings, what you're gonna wanna do is just kind of click on a couple and see if any of them are owning it for apparel. Once you validate that, yes, I can own this name, move it to the next phase. And that next phase is gonna be, can you own the domain name? Can you own the website? Now, when it comes to launching an e-commerce store, you'll need to purchase a domain name. Now, a domain name is essentially how customers are going to find you online. And a great option to secure a branded domain name is by using a .store extension. Now, a store extension allows you to get better branding for your e-commerce business, as it allows you to secure your brand name without having to add any hyphens or misspelling of your brand. Now, I was able to secure the domain hustling.store, and this is just one example of how it can legitimize your brand. The best part is that it's used by businesses, celebrities, and influencers that are all selling products online. It reminds your customers of what time it is. With over 900,000 e-commerce stores using a store extension, including Michelle Obama, who's selling her merch line, and she's even promoting her tours. Take a look at that. It even looks like she's got herself set up with a print-on-demand business here. Shakira, who's got her tour merch, Discord for their products, and one of my favorite YouTubers, Mark Rober, who's creating videos and educating people on science, and he's selling STEM products online. Now, a store extension gives you the ability to secure a domain with better branding ability for your store. And in a few minutes, we'll be diving into the details of how you can buy a store domain at a discount and connect it to your online store. But before we do that, let's jump into the next part, and that is legalizing your business. So in a few minutes, we're gonna be diving into the details of how you buy that domain and connect it to your online store. So let's jump into the next part, and that's in the legalization of your business. And no, this isn't like legalizing anything illegal, it's just making you legit. And what this means is getting your LLC versus sole proprietor, getting your wholesale license, getting your EIN and your DBA. And if all this information right now sounds really confusing, give me a few minutes, I'm gonna be breaking it down for you to be able to be a master. A lot of times when we talk about business structure, it can get really confusing. So I created this really easy to follow illustration that I'm gonna show you guys right now on what it means to be sole proprietor versus a limited liability company. Now, when it comes to sole proprietor, the most common way to think about this is like an Uber driver. When you're an Uber driver, they don't ask you for your business license, they don't ask you for your business entity or all this other information. They just say, hey, where's your driver's license, what's your social, and do you have car insurance? That's essentially what doing business as a sole proprietor is. Everything is gonna go under your name, so you represent your brand. Now, when it comes to doing business as, the DBA part of it, doing business as just means that, hey, if my name is John Santos, but I wanna do business as Street Crafter, I'd have to file a doing business as name for Street Crafter. To register a sole proprietor, it's pretty low cost. In Nevada, it's $20. And to register a doing business as name is usually around $10 to $20 as well, per name that you wanna register. So, sole proprietor, to keep it simple, means you're like an Uber driver. You're just gonna launch a business, you're gonna get paid, everything's gonna go through your name. When it comes to the LLC, this means that you have a limited liability company. And what this means is that you, as the owner, are protected. You're shielded by this LLC here, because this LLC is what's actually gonna own your brand name and all of your business assets. So what this means on a very diluted level, because I'm not an attorney and this isn't legal advice, you should always consult your attorney or CPA on what business model works for you. But LLC essentially protects your entire personal liability. Sole proprietor is the easiest method, but if you know, hey, I got a plan, I got some money, we're gonna be investing, I'm gonna be doing a lot of investments, I plan to hire, I plan to grow this, then an LLC is the best place for you to start. Now, of course, LLCs start anywhere between 400 plus, meaning depending if a lawyer does it, they might draft articles of organization and all this other stuff that's gonna cost you a couple hundred, if not thousands of dollars. So keep that budget in mind. If you do it at the lowest cost way, it's about $400. And we're gonna be adding some resources to the description that'll also help you kind of cut some costs and help you navigate this process, because it could be a little confusing. Regardless of what entity you end up using, guys, what you need to get next is an EIN number. And that means an employer identification number. Make sure it's the .gov. You see that right there? Apply for an employer identification number. Now from here, you're just gonna hit apply online, and you literally fill out this little application. You answer some questions. At the end of this survey, you literally have your employer identification number. Now, the last step to legalize a business is to get your wholesale license. Now, the wholesale license is also known as a sales tax permit. And that sales tax permit essentially allows you to collect sales taxes. Now, if you're wondering, what does this all mean, John? What this means is you're gonna be able to buy products at a discounted price, because in order to access certain suppliers, sometimes you need to have this wholesale certificate available, because that supplier doesn't want to have to collect your taxes. Make sure that you have a wholesale tax, sales tax permit, pretty much the same thing. So now that you've legitimized your business, it's time for you to get online. Now, earlier we mentioned about how you can get and reserve a brand name to .store. So I'm gonna go over to .store to connect it to a Shopify account. After checking out with coupon code JohnStore at checkout, you'll be taken to a dashboard, and this is where we'll have to change some settings to point it to Shopify. Now, this will allow you to have a custom website name like www.yourbrand.com, and it's pretty easy to do. You're gonna start by clicking on your domain name, and then click on Manage DNS in your dashboard. Click on Add an A record. What you're gonna add here is you're gonna point it to Shopify's IP address, which is 23.227.38.65. Then you will add a CNAME record. In this area, you will need to grab the domain name that Shopify gave you. In our example, it's hustlingharder.myshopify.com. We're gonna copy and paste it right into this area, and then you're gonna add www to the host name, and then you're gonna hit add record. And after this is all completed, head on over to your Shopify dashboard and connect your domain and hit verify. If you type your domain name on a browser and you see this Shopify landing page, that means it was successfully added and you are officially online. Now, if you get it through Shopify itself, it makes it really easy to connect because you can just buy the domain name straight from Shopify and now it's associated to your account. If you end up deciding to go with .store, you can get it for 99 cents for the first year by using the coupon code JOHNSTORE at checkout. Now this saves you guys a couple bucks, which means that for launching your online store, all you gotta do is pay $1. So we're gonna add that to the budget right now. The next important thing that you gotta think about when it comes to selling online is what theme to choose. Now, Shopify comes with like about 10 to 14 different free theme options. And free theme options are great if you're just getting started, but if you're really looking to do business and actually get sales and convert customers, you're gonna wanna look at the paid themes, guys. At the end of the day, paid themes have a lot more detail associated with them. They have a lot more features that help you convert. One of the best themes that are available if you're gonna go on the paid route is Debutify. Now, Debutify does come with a free theme option as well, and it's great out of the box with free. But if you go with the paid option, they level up your e-commerce store and they literally give you thousands of dollars worth of upgrades, all included. So that's the best part about Debutify is because not only do you do a drag and drop type editor, but you can also have app add-ons and integrations that help you chat with customers, that help you capture leads, that help you upsell, cross-sell, bundle, even give quantity discount breaks. All of this stuff is not available on the free themes, and very little paid themes on the Shopify store give you access to this. So if you're thinking about actually building a business and growing a brand, Shopify, domain name, Debutify. Kind of comes in a package, so now you're ready to sell online. So everything that we mentioned in this video is gonna be linked down below. Now the next part that we're gonna dive into is designing products. So the designing of products is really important, guys, because the graphic designs to the things that you create is gonna be what actually sells your product to customers. So when it comes to designing, I know it could be a little complicated and there's all kinds of different tools. So what I wanna share are some of the best tools that you should consider. Now the very first one is Procreate. It's only available on a tablet. So if you have a tablet, great. You're good to start using Procreate, and that costs about $10 and it's a one-time fee. Another program that you should consider is something like Canva. Canva does give you options to do t-shirt designs and graphics, but some of the downsides with Canva is that it doesn't necessarily export them for print production ready files. In order for you to create graphics for t-shirts, a common question that happens is what's the best graphic design program? It's gonna be Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop. I don't wanna confuse you guys on the two options, but Illustrator is definitely more for logos and hard designs. So let's say you're doing some like font-based things or some really solid color graphics. We'll throw some examples right around here because it gives you vector images. Now, Photoshop is more of the Procreate style of design. It definitely gives you more of PNGs, SVGs, things that are pretty good for production, and you can create some incredible size artboards that'll allow you to go to production. Now, Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop is a great program, but it does have a pretty high monthly cost at around $55, $60. If you're a university student, you can get it for around $30, but again, not all of us are students at a university, so it definitely is inaccessible to a lot, which is where a program like Kittl comes into play. Now, the really cool part about Kittl is it's like Canva on steroids. That's literally what a user from our community said when I asked them what they really thought about it. And a really cool thing that they really enjoyed about it is the fact that it literally gives you the options of Adobe Illustrator, but with the easiness of use of a Canva drag and drop editor. Now, proper art is crucial to a successful brand. And oftentimes as brand owners, we're challenged with creating designs, which is where Kittl comes in. After you create an account through the link in bio down below, you'll be taken to a dashboard that looks like this. From this dashboard, you can create new projects from scratch or search through the library of mockups to get a starting point and inspiration. Now, when it comes to t-shirt printing, it's important to start with the right size board for the intended shirt designs. Now, we linked a couple of the common sizes you could expect for most t-shirt jobs in the description right down below. I'll start with the dimensions of 11 by 9 for this project, as this design is gonna be something that I'm creating for me and my daughter as we head to the beach this summer. And since it's a beach design, I'm gonna search for something that's a little more surf. I really like this one here. What's really cool is that you can actually ungroup all of the different assets. Now you can actually move each of these assets to a specific part of the design. We have a saying here that we say, it's called "You have everything you need." Now from here, what you could also do is you can actually distort it at different angles. And then since it's actually showing on the entire artboard, what we want to do is we actually want to clip content. By doing clip content, we're actually putting it into the actual words now. We're not keeping it in the whole artboard, it's going into the design. But because Kittl allows you to fully customize like all the textures and grunges and colors of icons, you can add almost anything that you can think of. And this is probably one of the most powerful features that Kittl has, is that you can just go onto this button here and click on Mockup. Once you click on Mockup, you can see it on a variety of different products. So this one is a black shirt. I want to put it onto a yellow shirt. So you can actually increase it. Download the mockup. You can use this on your e-commerce store. You can use it for promotion. You can use it for anything that you're going to need to get your idea out. Now we're going to download it. You can also increase the DPI. 150 is pretty good for print production. If you want to go to 200, that's fine. And then you could also just download as a PDF or a PNG. Ideal for prints is an SVG. We want to make sure that we remove background. You don't want to have any white on the back. That's the most important part about downloading art for production, guys. You want to have a transparent background. So what we're going to see here, we go to PNG, you're going to see this grayed out design. When you see this grayed out design, that means you have a transparent background, as long as you also confirm that the remove background button was hit. All of your settings are now ready to upload. You gotta have a budget for this, and we're gonna budget $14 towards the $100 that you need to start. Now, once you have designs, one of the easiest low-cost ways for you to create products is to make them yourself. Now, historically, this meant that you either had to have equipment, a screen printer in your garage, or use a cutting machine and vinyls to get the job done. But I want to tell you that there's an easier method now, and it cuts out all the hard work, but gives you full control of the products that you create, and it's available through streetcrafter.com. And once you have your production ready files from Kittl, you're simply going to upload them onto this website, and you'll get sent press art sheets that look like this. All you got to do is unroll these sheets, cut them out, and then you can heat press it onto literally any garment. Whether it's polyester, cottons, denims, you name it, it works on it. You can quickly create physical samples to start marketing and even get your first order done within a few days. So we're using a heat press. You could do this with a home iron. Home irons work great. We're using a heat press because that gives you consistency in your production. We're gonna pre-press this. The goal is to have firm to medium pressure. Now, we were talking about using Kittl to do vector art, and as you can see here, this is the vector art that's clean lines and edges. Now, the reason for that is because you want to be able to peel easily, you want to be able for it to last long on a t-shirt, and vector arts is also what's required for screen printing. So think of using DTF as a screen printing. This is a little quick tip. What we want to do is we want to get the center of the design. So regardless of how you cut, you know that your center is between the Y and the S on the design. So what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of fold that top edge very sharply there. That gives us a center line on our design. That center line we're going to center with the shirt. We're going to throw the Teflon sheet on there, and we're going to press. Now, when it comes to pressing, you want to do 315 for 15 seconds. That's pretty much a catch-all, but you also want to verify with the fabrics that you're working with. Lighter fabrics, cottons, polyesters may be a little different. But when it comes to cotton, the magic number, 315, 15 seconds. Now, sometimes you can get a second press. It can last for 50 plus years. You can press it again, or you can just press it that one time. There is another way for you guys to start, and this is the third option. And the third option is working with a print-on-demand company or a supplier that's more local to where you're at. You don't need to go overseas to buy all these cut and sew blanks and do printing over there. You can literally get it somewhere local from a print shop or a print-on-demand company, like somebody like Applique. Now, Applique allows you to do custom print on demand right from your Shopify store. So if you started with Shopify and now all you want to focus on is design and marketing, all you got to do is upload your art to the Applique platform. It connects to your Shopify. You now have product listings and your customers can start buying products from you, and Applique makes it and ships it for them. That's probably the best method if you don't want to do anything yourself and you just want to job it out. It's a lot safer to work with a print-on-demand supplier. For this budget, we're going to give it a $40 budget because you can buy some press art sheet for 30 bucks. You can create a Bella Canvas Maker account that we're going to link in the description right down below. Bella Canvas has some incredible resources for wholesale blanks that you can literally pick up for like $4, $10, $15 depending on the cuts and silhouettes that you want. With a wholesale blank and with a Street Crafter order, you're now able to sample your products. Hopefully those $40, your designs are good enough for you to be able to turn a profit on that, and now you just are able to self-fund this launch. It doesn't have to be that complicated, because a lot of times we make it overly complicated, and that's the reason why businesses never start. As long as you got some artwork and a design idea, you're ready to start printing some products. Now that you got those products made, photography is the next thing. Now, when you think about photography, what really comes to mind 99% of the time is a camera like this. And a camera like this can be kind of expensive. And if you don't know how to use it, you gotta pay somebody that knows how to do it. Because you could be spending $2,000 on a camera, but if you don't know how to use it, the photos won't look any better than the photos that you take on your phone. When it comes to creating photography for your brand, there's some very low cost methods to do it that don't require that you invest into a camera. But we are gonna jump into some details of how you can leverage this at a very low cost rate. But to start, one of the resources you should consider is something like Placeit.net. Placeit allows you to actually place your art onto models that then are wearing the products in a real life type of setting. Now, Placeit works great for print on demand, but it doesn't look legit for a real brand or a real e-commerce store. Cody once said, it was a really good analogy, it's like a real duck looking at a decoy duck. Something's off about it. It doesn't look like it's completely legit, and that's kind of how your customers are gonna be looking at mock-ups that you put on other models that are just in random sceneries and places. You could fake it enough to make it look pretty decent, but again, you're gonna wanna take real photography of your products if you want to actually establish and grow a clothing brand. Another great option to do this is with something like this right here. Your phone. What's key about taking photography, whether it's lifestyle or product shoots from your phone, is to just have the right lighting, guys. Even if you don't have expensive studio lights, you can literally just put it by a window. Put it on a surface that doesn't have too much happening, like a table, have minimal shadows, and then you can import it into a program such as Canva that automatically removes the background, or a program such as Photo Room, which also does something similar. So to begin with, it's just important that you either use Placeit or that you use resources that are very low cost, like the Photo Room option. But your best option to have if you're starting this and you want to take it serious is to actually work with a photographer that's going to be able to help you take these photos. Now, you may be wondering, John, how do I get a photographer if I don't have the budget for that? Start networking with people within your own community, within your own city or state. And a great way to do that is to join a community of people that are literally on a similar path. Everybody shares resources and helps each other out because we all need help in establishing and growing a brand. So in our FTGU app, I think one of the coolest things that we have that's happening there is that people are literally locally meeting. So we have people like meeting in groups of 5, 6, and they're having little workshops on their own weekends. They coordinate dates and they have all this really cool stuff happening. So just be ready to offer some type of value, certain things that are really unique and special to what you do. Everyone can work together and collaborate and literally do photo shoots for close to zero as long as you pay for lunch. So for this budget, we're gonna give it $25, and that brings us to our total of $100 to start your brand. But we're not finished yet, guys. We're about to jump into the details of how you're gonna take these photos and videos to the next level to help sell your products, and that's in promotion. Now, the promotion of your brand is gonna be what makes all of your work actually pay off. Remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned how important it was to consider the 3 things: authenticity to your brand, the community you build around it, and the connection of products to that community, right? This is where promotion comes full circle, and all of the work that we just laid out starts to make sense, or I hope I'm gonna make sense of it. So in order for you to actually promote and be successful with it, it should already be authentic to who you are. And what I mean by that is, you as a creator, you as a person, you as a human being should already have some social media channels established. A lot of times what I see is that brand owners will literally launch an Instagram page or a TikTok or a social media account with 0 followers, right? They got 0 followers on it, they got no posts on it, and it's just their random brand name that has no connection to who they are or what they're even about. And then they wonder why nobody's following, why nobody's watching, why nobody's clicking, and they're not getting any conversions. The reason for that is because the creator isn't promoting it at all. You want it to just be a self-promoting thing and be behind the scenes, but in reality, people are doing business with people. And that's what you need to consider and keep in mind at the top of your promotions, is that it's gonna begin with you. You watching right now have some kind of following, whether it's 50 followers, 10 followers, or 1,000 or 50,000 or 100,000. And the reason that you're not promoting, or potentially the reason why you're hesitant to promote, is because it's not authentic to you. The brand that you're creating is not authentic to you. The promotions must begin with you. From that, you're gonna be able to activate local or influencers within your own audience base, right? So if you have friends, family, and people that have some sort of following, you're gonna wanna create a list of who they are, put it in an Excel sheet or a Google Doc, create a little list of your top followers and how many subscribers they have. So you can send them a message, send them an email, give them a phone call, let them know what you're working on, send them some photos in real time and let them know, hey, look, I'd love for you to be a part of this project. This is something that's passionate to who I am. I've been following you for X amount of time. Can you promote when I launch, right? And it's gonna be a simple conversation like that. And a lot of the times they'll either ask for a budget or just free product. And this is where the street crafter method comes into play, because you can actually sample something and send it off to them at a very low cost. In order for you to establish the brand social media page, you should be thinking about which post should you be putting before the launch even happens. So you should be creating a content calendar for this to work. Now, a content calendar is essentially gonna lay out the days you should be posting leading up to the launch, and then the posts that are gonna happen after the launch, right? And it's gonna be a continual work, guys. It's not gonna convert on the first post, second post, third post. It takes an average of 7 messages for somebody to even look at what you're doing. So don't feel bad if nobody knows what you're working on. If you haven't at least promoted it 7 to 15 times, nobody's gonna know what you're doing, okay? So you need to create a content calendar that leads up to the launch. So get creative and come up with topics that'll start to engage your audience on your personal page and that you could also start sharing on your brand's page. There's a lot of different ways to do the pre-launch, but the most engaging methods are surveys. It's gonna be product sampling, when you actually start to sample and you get some feedback from people. Now, in the official day of launch, you're gonna wanna have photos of the actual collection. This is the lookbook that you created. This is the video that you made. Everything is gonna roll out through the formats that the social media platforms prefer. Right now, Reels are big, stories are still supported, and photos come right after, right? So you have to have a calendar of at least 14 to 15 days after launch, guys. Don't just launch it that one day and say, hey, I didn't get any sales, how do I better market? And then more importantly, never stop promoting. That's probably the biggest thing that you have to do, is every chance that you get to talk to anybody at the store, anybody on social media, anybody anywhere, you should be talking about what you're doing. And the reason for this is because you never know who you're talking to. There's all kinds of deals that can come when you start talking about it. And that's really what you're gonna be learning throughout this process, is as you launch, as you promote, as you talk with people, as you start getting customers, you'll understand your niche and you'll understand your audience and you'll understand what they want. The better you understand that, the better you're gonna be able to design and sell products to them. So then in a year or two, you're gonna be in a whole different place than when you started watching this video, as long as you follow the steps that we just did. The last step in this process is to reinvest what you make. Just because you make some money doesn't mean that you should go out and buy a car now. It's literally what people start doing as they start making some money. They say, hey, I got some extra profits, let me just go buy a car, let me go splurge on it. And then when your business doesn't get the sales it needs, you're out of business now. You should always be reinvesting into the brand and having a little savings for it, for you to reinvest into products, into talent, into the next phase and chapter of what you're gonna do. Business is an ever-growing thing. It's not something that just starts once and then that's it. But in this video, my goal was all about showing you guys how you can get started for a super low budget. Getting started is the first channel. It's the first phase of you actually starting this journey, which I feel sometimes people don't want to share all this information with you. They don't want to give you all of this up front because they'd rather you learn it on your own. But I'm here, and this channel is all about helping the underserved get the opportunity to build something from the ground up. That's what this channel was started with. That's what this channel was founded on. And that's how we're continuing to grow and assist you guys. So for those of you guys watching till right now, if you enjoyed this video, consider hitting that subscribe button. And remember, if you're looking to start on a low budget, make sure you consider using streetcrafter.com, which we're gonna link in the description right down below. That's our personal site, and our whole goal and mission there is to empower the youth and empower everyday entrepreneurs to start t-shirt printing businesses that they can literally make a living off of. We're there to assist you through supplies, blanks, and everything else that you need to start a business from home. And if you're interested in designing a clothing brand for less than $200, check out this video here where we dive into the steps that are going to show you how you can create a full collection for less than $200, and we're going to be walking you step by step. So click on this now, and I'll see you guys in that one.